Hello and welcome back to Holy Trinity Church. It's great to see you all again. And come and have a look at this. Some of you have even left us some decorated stones. Thank you so much, and we can't wait to see more of them. Now today's a very important day in the church. It's called Good Friday.
And today we're going to be putting into our garden some crosses, and we'll learn why we're putting those crosses in the next part of our story.
Now can you remember what happened yesterday? We heard about Jesus sharing a very special meal with his friends, and then being arrested and taken away. But his friends all ran away from him. That wasn't very nice.
It's not very nice, but I think they could have been a little bit confused or a little bit scared. So should we have a listen to the next part of the story and find out what happens next and why we're putting the crosses into the garden.
The men took Jesus to a man called Caiaphas, who was the high priest. He questioned Jesus about his teaching. Caiaphas said to Jesus,
"Are you Christ, the Son of God?"
Jesus replied,
"You say that I am."
Caiaphas was so angry that he tore his clothes and shouted. He turned and spoke to the other men that were around him, asking them what he should do. They all agreed that Jesus should be put to death. Then the guards took him away. Early in the morning, the Jewish leaders took Jesus to the palace of the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. Jesus stood before Pilate. The Pharisees were shouting all sorts of horrible things about Jesus, things that weren't true. Pilate took a long time to question Jesus and said to the Pharisees,
"I find no reason for this man to be sentenced to death."
It was the time of the Passover, a very important time for Jews, and it was custom for a prisoner to be released. Down in the dungeons, a man called Barabbas, who was a murderer, was locked in a cell. He was not a nice man. Pilate asked the crowd,
"Shall I release the King of the Jews?"
but they shouted back.
"We want Barabbas."
Pilate asked them,
"What shall I do with Jesus then?"
and the crowd shouted back.
"Crucify him."
Pilate didn't know what to do, so he asked,
"What crime has he committed?"
but the crowds kept shouting.
"Crucify him."
Pilate took a bowl of water, washed his hands in front of the crowd, and said,
"I am innocent of this man's blood."
Then the guards led Jesus away to be crucified. The guards took Jesus into the courtyard. They stripped him and dressed him in a purple robe. Purple was usually the colour that royalty would wear. They made him a crown of thorns, which hurt Jesus as they put it on his head. They stood and made fun of him, spat at him and beat him. Those who were to be crucified would carry their crosses outside the city to a hill called Golgotha, which means place of the skull. Jesus was far too weak to carry the cross, so the guards looked around for someone to carry it for him. They spotted a man called Simon coming towards them, and they chose him to carry Jesus' cross. When they reached the top of the hill, the soldiers laid the cross down and put nails through Jesus' hands and feet. When they had finished, they lifted the cross up so that everyone around could see it, and they fixed a sign to the top of the cross saying, "King of the Jews." The crowds gathered at the foot of the cross. The guards sat on the floor, and next to them was Jesus' robe. It was one full piece of cloth, and they didn't want to tear it. So they played a game and cast lots to see who would take it. The crowd started to shout to Jesus, saying,
"If he is the Son of God, then let God rescue him."
Jesus heard all of this and prayed,
"Father, forgive them. They do not know what they are doing."
There were 2 robbers crucified alongside Jesus. One of the robbers shouted,
"We deserve this punishment. This man has done no wrong." "Jesus, please, remember me when you come into your kingdom."
Jesus answered him,
"I tell you today, you will be with me in paradise."
Jesus noticed his mother, Mary, and a man called John, one of his friends. Jesus said to Mary,
"Woman, from now on, this man will be your son."
And he said to John,
"From now on, this is your mother."
About 3 hours later, Jesus whispered.
"I am thirsty."
The guards soaked a sponge in some vinegar and put it to his lips. Jesus cried out,
"It is finished." Father, I give my spirit to you.
Then he bowed his head and died.
That Jesus was crucified on the day before the Sabbath, and the Sabbath for the Jews was on a Saturday, so that's why we call it Good Friday, even though it doesn't sound like it was a very good Friday.
It was a very sad day at the time. The disciples were scared. Mary, Jesus' mother, was stood at the foot of the cross when he died. Even one of the guards was so frightened that he said he believed that surely Jesus was the Messiah. But the reason today is called Good Friday is because Jesus died on the cross, not just for his friends and those who lived at the time of him, but for each and every one of us.
And now you know why we've placed crosses in our garden. And it's to remember Jesus dying on the cross, and it's such an important part of our story. So we've come to the end of the video today, and thank you again for the lovely decorated stones. If you bring any more, the bucket will be here to pop them into. And don't forget to look out for your pictures if you're at Holy Trinity and St. Mary's, which will come up after the video. So we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye.
Come see his hands and his feet, the scars that speak